Hello everyone and welcome to Budapest, the capital of Hungary. This city lies right in the heart of Europe and it is a really beautiful, fascinating city with loads of history and culture. So I've been here for about 3 days. I arrived on Thursday night and it's Saturday morning now. So I'm going to go out and about today and discover the city in a bit more detail. So this is actually the third time I've stayed in this city. I'm staying near the Keleti Station, which is in the east part of the city. It's on the Pest side. Budapest is split into two sections really, either side of the Danube River. So the Pest side is on the east and is flat, and the Buda side is on the west and is hilly and has the very famous Budapest Castle. The weather's really good, it's sunny and warm, and I'm really looking forward to today. Going to get to know the sights and the sounds and the major landmarks of the city itself. One thing to remember about Hungary is that they use the Hungarian forint as their currency, so they don't have the euro here, although it is part of the European Union. I'm now right in front of the Keleti Station, which just means East Station. So this is one of the biggest train stations in the whole of Budapest and is also a hub for international travel. People who are doing interrailing and going to other countries around Europe will come to this station. A lot of trains go from here to places like Romania, Bulgaria, and even Austria, I think, as well. So it's very much an important train station in the city, and it also has a metro station which connects onto the lines 2 and 4. It's an incredible building. It was built in 1884. It's a really important landmark for Budapest, and actually around Keleti Station is a really interesting part of town. So there are lots of fast food restaurants, shops, bars, pubs, cafes. It's a very vibrant part of the city with a lot going on. If you're travelling to Budapest by train, you might come to this station. This afternoon I'm doing the city tour, the hop-on, hop-off bus. I thought it'd be a good way to get to know the city because there is a lot to see, especially in the centre of Budapest. I think this would be a good way to see the main sites and the main landmarks. So I bought my ticket yesterday with this company. It was 13,000 florins, which is 33 euros or about £30. So yeah, I'm going to go to the bus stop now and wait for my bus. So this is the first place I've come to visit on the tour. This is the Grand Budapest Synagogue, and it was completed in 1859. So it's got this really interesting Moorish architecture in the North African style. As luck would have it, the synagogue is actually closed today because it's a Saturday, and Saturday is the Jewish Sabbath day, so unfortunately I can't go inside. So I'm just going to have a look at the incredible architecture and the really interesting facade that it's got. This is the largest synagogue in the whole of Europe and the second largest in the world. So this place is really important for Jewish people, but also people interested in history. The synagogue was completely renovated in the 90s so that it can receive visitors and tourists. So really beautiful architecture, really fascinating place. I might come back one day when it's open. So you can see got these really fascinating gardens. So I'm back on the bus. And we're now about to go over the Elizabeth Bridge over the Danube. So we're going from the Pest side to the Budapest side of the city. So lots of boat trips on the river today. It's really nice weather. So I'm now on the Budapest side of the city for the first time, and I'm at the Keleti Hotel Square. If I'm not mistaken, the Keleti Hotel is one of these really fantastic spa hotels where they have swimming pools, Turkish baths, steam rooms and saunas and things like that. So the Keleti is one of the most famous ones in the city. This is called the Liberty Bridge, which is one of the most famous bridges in the city. Really ornate design. Got some eagles on the top there. Yeah, so that's the Liberty Bridge. I'm actually going to walk over that bridge and go back onto the Pest side to visit the Central Market. So the Liberty Bridge is really beautiful. Very ornate design on the metalwork. And gives some really good views of the Danube as well. So there are some people just chilling out on the bridge here. It's quite relaxed. And here you can see the boat tours going on. And this is the Grand Central Market in Budapest. Quite a busy square, just at the end of Liberty Bridge. Central Market time. Lots of nice smells. Feels very historic. Feels very old. So I think it was built in 1894 originally, this market. And I imagine it's like lots of these markets. It's probably a mix of tourists and locals, but probably more tourists than locals, to be honest. It is really beautiful. Not that busy, so it's not really crowded. This guy's obviously quite important because he's got a statue and he's holding a chicken and an egg. So it just says his name. It doesn't say why he's got his own statue, but it's still quite cool. So paprika is a really big deal in Hungary. They love paprika and they put it in a lot of their food, so it's quite hot and spicy. Greengrocers, lots of fruit and veg. So they have really good weather in Hungary in the summer, so they can grow almost tropical fruits along with typical European fruits. I don't know, agriculture is really important in Hungary. So they've got wine and drink stand here. I'm buying some pork scratchings from this butcher shop. I think pork scratchings are quite popular here, just like in England. Right, I've got my pork scratchings. This is going to be my snack for today when I'm out and about. Cost me 700 florent, which is about £2. So yeah, these look really, really tasty. and yeah, I'm sure they'll keep me going throughout the day. So you can see just how big the hall is in the Great Market Hall of Budapest. It's absolutely enormous, and it's got another floor upstairs, and downstairs there is an Aldi. So they've mixed the old with the new in the market, and they've got a supermarket underground. Have a look at all these different types of paprika products they've got on sale here. So all these different types of peppers, powders. So paprika is a really traditional ingredient in Hungary. And they've also got some honey, probably local honey, dried paprika, garlic. Right, I'm now going upstairs to see what is going on the first floor, what sort of products they've got up here. So it looks like up here is more about non-food products, clothes, leather products, souvenirs, presents, stuff like that. Lots of things for tourists to buy. Here they've got some traditional Hungarian fabrics and designs. They've got a restaurant here on the top floor as well. And here you get a really great view of the whole hall. And some more restaurants and takeaway joints down there. So I've just stopped at this restaurant in the market, and I've bought myself some goulash soup, which looked really, really good. This was 2,500 florins. One of the guys working here told me that in Hungary there are actually two types of goulash. There's the goulash soup and the goulash stew. And I've just bought the goulash soup. And this is basically like a broth, and it's very light, and it has vegetables like carrots and potatoes and sometimes celeriac. But the stew itself is much heavier and much thicker, and mainly just has beef and onions and garlic. So that's really fascinating, because in England we mainly have the stew, whereas here it's much lighter and, you know, can be served as a soup as well. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what this is like. Wow, so the goulash soup was lovely, absolutely delicious. Really strong flavours. You could taste the paprika and the beef and the vegetables. They all mix together to create a delicious flavour. But the soup itself was very light. The meat was tender, really delicious. I'm heading out of the market now. It's been really interesting, really fascinating, and I highly recommend it if you're in Budapest. It's not super busy, but yeah, there's enough to see and do here. It's really, really cool. So the market itself reminds me of Sao Paulo market, if you've ever been to the central market in Sao Paulo. So I'm now back on the Buda side of the city. I'm at Buda Castle. I'm actually at the foot of the hill where Buda Castle is situated. I'm contemplating whether I'm actually going to go and visit it, or I'm just going to look at it from the outside. I'm not sure at the moment. I'm quite enjoying sitting in this little garden. The sun's come out, it's nice and hot now. Yeah, I'm going to prepare myself psychologically for the castle. Right, it's Buda Castle time. Let's do this. I'm climbing up the steps, up the hill. So the steps up to the castle are quite steep, But I made it. I'm here.
Let's go and fix the train. Okay, you can stay here, we're going.
So the views from Budapest Castle are incredible, and they're well worth the hike. You can see everything on the pest side of the river. So this is the Hungarian presidential palace. So it's where the president of Hungary lives. And we've got some horses and some soldiers with some traditional uniforms on. Nearly got run over by the horses. This area is actually called Budapest Castle District. So it's not just the castle, they have lots of museums, the royal palace, the presidential palace. There's a whole area of monuments and things related to Hungarian history. I saw some what looked like eagles on the top of the bridge, but it might have been one of these turtle birds that is a symbol of Hungary. And now I'm heading towards the Hungarian National Gallery. And here is the National Gallery of Hungary. I'm now walking through one of the tunnels down to the back courtyard of the National Gallery, behind the main building. And they've got this fantastic fountain of a man with a crossbow who has slain a deer. And there's quite a few other animals depicted in the fountain sculptures as well.
Ja, dat is mooi, hè?
Ja, moet die niet komen. Boven die deur.
I'm now walking away from the National Gallery and further into the castle district up here on the Buda side of the river. And this is a mix of residential areas and museums and monuments and things like that. It reminds me a bit of Montmartre in Paris, right on the top of a hill, and lots of things for tourists to see, mixed with residential buildings and flats and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm just having a nosy. So this is the Matthias Church, and this is a Roman Catholic church, quite Gothic in its style. And you can just see the turtle bird, I think, on the top. And down here is the monument known as Fishermans Bastion. There are 7 of these stone towers on the Fisherman's Bastion monument, and they represent the 7 tribes of the Hungarians that came together to create the Hungarian people, or the Hungarian nation, back in 895. So that's a bit of the history of Hungary and how it came to become a country. And this statue, I'm fairly sure, is of St. Stephens, who I think is the patron saint of Hungary. And these are the famous Parliament buildings, the Parliament of Hungary, on the other side of the river, on the Pest side. So they've got these really iconic buildings. From here you can see a bit more of the Fishermans Bastion. Right, I'm now walking away from Fisherman's Bastion down back towards the river, but I am a bit lost now because I'm walking around this residential area and I'm just sort of going down, and yeah, don't really know where I'm going. I'm hoping I'm going to end up at the river. I think this is actually a better view of the Parliament buildings. So really good light down here, and you can see all the features quite well of the building. Really, really beautiful. I've just spotted this mini sculpture of a tank on the wall here with a broken cannon. I'm now at Stephens Basilica, and there are lots of people out and about this evening enjoying the good weather and the atmosphere here. Lots of shops, bars, cafes, restaurants. The dates on this cathedral on the facade say 1862, so I'm sure this is a really important place for Catholics who live in Budapest. You can see all of the statues and the features really well. Yeah, it's been really well preserved and looked after. So I just tried to get on the bus at St. Stephens Basilica, and the bus tour has now finished. So it finished at 6. I think, yeah, it's written on the brochure, but I didn't sort of remember that. So I was planning to get the bus back to Keleti, but I can't do that now, so I think I'm going to have to jump on the Underground. So I'm now going to get on line 2 on the Budapest Underground. I think I'm going on this platform on the left.
Ez az M2-es metró az ős vezérkeleten.
Back to Keleti Station, where it all began. This time on the Underground. And this is what the station looks like in the evening at about 10 to 7. Still really busy. Still lots going on. So I'm now in the part of Budapest that I think I like the most. It's the bit I know the most because this is where I stay when I come here. This is called the Rákosi Avenue. I just find it really relaxed and down to earth. This isn't particularly a tourist area, but I think it's just real Budapest. I don't know. I just feel the most comfortable here. It's about 9:30 I think now. It's been a good day in Budapest. Really interesting to get to know the city a bit more. I went on the bus tour, the hop on hop off, which was really good. I don't normally do that kind of thing because I like to get off the beaten track a bit and see sort of different stuff. But I felt like it was the right thing to do today because I just wanted to see sort of the main things, the main, you know, monuments and stuff like that. One point about the language is quite interesting here in Hungary. The Hungarian language is completely different to sort of any other European language. I think there's a slight connection to Finnish, but from what I can gather, Finnish people and Hungarian people, they can't understand each other. So yeah, and I don't speak Hungarian. I speak sort of a few words that I've learned just sort of before I came, but you're mainly relying on like people who speak English, and that's pretty much the people who work in the hotels and in the centre, in the cafes and, you know, bars and stuff like that right in the centre. But as soon as you get out of the centre, you won't be able to talk to people in English really. So I found that a bit challenging actually, because I can communicate by using sign language and, you know, Google Translate on my phone, but I can't actually have a conversation with people, and that has been slightly annoying from my point of view, because I do like to find out what the local people are thinking, and, you know, I can't ask people what they think about what's going on in the country or what's going on in the world, but it's just one of those things, and if anything it's given me motivation to actually learn some Hungarian and get into this fascinating language, because it is fascinating. One other thing that's really interesting is that a lot of people here speak German, which I sort of wasn't really expecting. So obviously Hungary and Austria, they share a border and they've got lots of history together because of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, but also a lot of tourists here come from, you know, German-speaking countries, so Germany, Austria or Switzerland. It's basically like the second foreign language, so English is the first foreign language and German is the second foreign language. So on a lot of the signs that you see in the street or in a hotel or on the buses, there will be in Hungarian, English and German. That's really fascinating, and I've actually met a couple of Hungarian people who do speak German, and that's been good because I can actually have a chat to them about, you know, stuff, what's going on. I'm going to get some food now. So around this area there's a lot of Vietnamese and Chinese restaurants, but I'm actually just going to grab a pizza. Anyway, it's been absolutely awesome getting to know Budapest a bit more. I'm hoping to do a bit more discovering tomorrow. It's just a really fascinating city. You can feel the history here, and I found Hungarian culture to be really interesting so far. All the best, take care, and ciao.